What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today we're going to look at the Notre Dame spread playbook in college football 25. This is the Mike Denbrock offense. He was the offensive coordinator at LSU last season. Jaden Daniels won the Heisman. Well, this is the offense, and it's a pretty nice one. Again, it's a basic spread playbook, nothing too crazy, but it's got a lot of good combination of concepts I think you'll really enjoy if this is your type of offense. So we're going to go over the formations and concepts and play types and personnel. And hopefully by the end of the video, you'll have a good idea of what this playbook is all about. So let's start off with formation. So again, this is a spread offense. Expect a lot of shotgun, but it's got a few other things as well. I want to actually go over to pistol. We got two pistol formations. We got wing, that is a 12 personnel set. And then we got trips open. That is technically a 10 personnel set. And I'm going to go over here to wing, and it's basic pistol run, read option, play action off of that. Nothing too wild and crazy here, but you got 18 plays for this particular one. Think of this as more of a pro style look. It even has power O and then play action off that. That just screams pro style. So anytime you're doing pro style, just kind of think you're under center, but you're kind of not in a sense. But you just kind of notice here, they just got a little bit of everything in this particular formation. You go over the trips open. This is again a 4 wide look. You got a Z spot. That's a pro style look. You got PA deep in, dive, zone off of that, curl flat wheel, and strong flood. This is again another 18 plays. It's all just a lot of basic pro style-ish stuff, but from the pistol. So if you want to sprinkle in some pistol, you got a couple different personnel groupings and formations to play with that. We got one strong formation, and it is strong jumbo. You only got 6 plays in it, but there's only a couple of playbooks in the entire game that have this. I think it's Notre Dame of Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken. But you got a power O, play action off of that, and a dive, an inside zone to play action off of it. And then you got a fullback dive. So there's not much there, but again, this would be a great thing to use for 3rd and short, 4th and short, things of that nature. You also have a wildcat formation. It's unbalanced. It's a 3-play formation. It's all based off the jet sweep, but it's actually got a little bit more passing than you would think for it just being 3 plays. But either way, that's what that is right there. And now I just want to spend the rest of the time in the shotgun because that's where the bulk of the playbook is at. So let's start off with the very first formation. That is wing tight Z. This is a 13 personnel look. Those are your 3 tight ends out there, 88, 9, and 87. Then you go into deuce close. Then you go into wing slot offset. Then you got wing slot weak. And then you got U off trips. And then you get into your 11 personnel. So you have plenty of multi-tight end plays in this particular playbook. So you go back here, deuce close, wing slot offset, slot weak, and then U off trip. More than enough to have fun with. Then we get into 11 personnel. This is where you get into double Z close weak. You got normal Y off weak. Then you get into Y off trips. Now we're starting to get into our trips stuff. It's still 11 based. Then you got Y off trips weak. Then you get trips Y over. And then you get into the spread halfback weak. Notice 88 is still out there, so it's an 11 personnel set. Then you get the stack Y flex. Then you get the tray 4 wide receiver. And then we have trips halfback weak. And then we get an empty trio. And if I'm not mistaken, that is another 11 personnel formation. So one thing I really like about the shotgun stuff is the personnel diversity. I'm a big personnel guy. I like to have a little bit of everything because you just never know. Each season, your best 11 guys may be 11 personnel or 10 or 21. And I don't want to get stuck with my playbook doesn't have what I'm looking for, especially if you don't want to fool with sub packages. So you notice we got a 13 personnel, then we get into your 2 tight end sets, then you get into your 1 tight end sets, and then you get into some 4 wide stuff to go with that. So I think it's pretty cool. Then you mix in your pistol and your strong, you got even more stuff to play with. So before we talk about more personnel, I want to get into a few different formations here that are a little bit more unique to this playbook than the other ones. I want to go over to gun trips Y over. Very few playbooks have this formation. There are 12 plays in this one. You got RPOs, more RPOs, passing off of that, read option and dive. Then you got bubbles on top of that. Notice a lot of these RPOs are going to have bubbles in this playbook. Sprint corner, that's a flood concept. And you go to Z spot. Then you get into verticals. So again, I would use this formation if you're going to use this playbook because there's not many playbooks that actually have it. Okay, it's just a nice flood concept in terms of your formation. I'm going to go do this PA zag play right here. I think this is pretty nifty. If you can get it off, let's see, go over here. Can I get it off? There we go. Nice little cross action right there. Really good stuff right there. But again, you're just flooding one side of the field initially, but then after that, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. But there's some good stuff right there. I also want to talk about Wing Tight Z. All the way over here, this is that 13 personnel look. This has got 12 plays in it. Got some pre-snap motion. There's not a ton of pre-snap motion in this playbook, but this formation has some of it. You got that your lone receiver, the Z receiver coming in, and that motion duo. You got play action off that, a basic inside zone. You got an RPO. You got some mesh. You got a little trap. Just things of that nature. But notice this is very similar to that trip spot overlook. You're just flooding one side of the defense with a bunch of bodies to that one side. And notice the word duo. You're going to see that word a lot in this playbook. It's just basic inside zone, more or less, but it's just up the gut running. And I'm going to go over here. We'll go up against a random 4-3. Too high look. Again, this is basic running. There's nothing to read here. You just got to hope for decent blocking. That's always a hit and miss in this game. But either way, a lot of inside zone with that. But let's talk about the duo. We'll do that a little bit later once we get to the concepts. But there's one other formation I want to talk about, and that is the double Z close weak. I'm going to go over here. And this is another formation that's just very rare in other playbooks. And as you can see, we got a double post. We got a dagger with a Z comeback, base. That's just a power play. Inside zone, you got an RPO, and you got a slip screen. So there's only 6 plays in it. But again, there's just not many playbooks that have this particular formation. So those are the ones I just kind of want to point out in terms of the rarity. Let's go over to personnel real quick. We've already hinted at some of this stuff. Starting off at the very top, 11 personnel. This is the bulk of the playbook. Like with any other spread playbook in this game, just a lot of 11 personnel, as you see here. Then we get into 13. That's that wing tight Z we just looked at. You get to your 23, you do get that strong jumbo. And again, I highly suggest you use it. This would be your fun way to get down and dirty and try to run people over, especially in those certain situations. You also got goal line normal if you need it. Then you got 12 personnel. We got enough here. Again, deuce close and wing slot offset and slot weak and you off trips. And you got wing from the pistol as well. So more than enough there. You got your wildcat formation. 32, that's your QB kneel. 21, just your clock management. But I want to talk about this right here. So this is another spread playbook that actually has several 4 wide sets without you having to bother with sub packages. You got the tray 4 wide receiver, halfback weak, and then trips open from pistol. Okay, so there's 3 of them right there. Notice the play count, 18, 21, and 18. A lot of plays right there. So I just like the diversity of the personnel for it being a basic spread playbook because 90% of the spread playbooks in this game are all just 95% 11 personnel. And I like to vary it up a little bit with my players and such. Now let's go over to those concepts. Let's go over to concepts right here. I'm going to start at the very top. Always look at the play count. Kind of gives you a rough idea of how much of what you have in each one of these. 56 runs, almost 50 options, 93 medium passes, and 71 deep passes. Keep that in mind. That's quite a bit high number compared to the rest of this stuff. So let's start off to the runs. Out of the gate, this is another thing I think it's interesting. Sometimes they put these in weird order. I don't think it matters what order they put them in because you may go over to the 6 or 7 one, and that may be your most popular concept. But I just thought it was interesting. They put power first, but they got 15 power plays in here. Power is just a basic pulling lineman of some sort for the most part, but then you get plays like this at a gun trips while over where it's halfback dive. Why they put at that as a power play, I'm not sure. But I'm going to use this pistol play. Just basic power O with a pulling guard. If you can get around the guard and get through, you're doing okay. I'm normally a fan of these. You just got to be patient. Hope the blocking is good. Something like that's really nice. It helps when your entire line pushes, you know. But either way, that's a lot of power plays in this playbook, more than what I usually see, even some like the pro style playbooks. You also got 8 counters. So counter is a perfect complement to your power. You're just still pulling linemen or tight ends. Like you got this counter Y if you like that split zone action with the tight end. You got some of that in there up the gut. Really good stuff right there. So between the powers, the counters, and we haven't even got to the inside zone, which is usually the most popular, and you got 20 of those. So this is where it all starts. But if you need a little pulling action, go over to your power, then throw in some counter on top of that. Now you go over to ISO, you got a couple there, you got 4 draws, nothing compared to some other ones we've seen in the past where they're very pass happy. This one's not as much. Outside zone, you got 5 of these. You're just going outside the tackle box. You got a sweep, and that's at a goal line, and you got a trap if you need some of that. And again, I guarantee that trap play is probably over in this power section somewhere if I had to guess. So there you go. So it's a lot of inside zone, then power and counter. Let's go over to option. We got one inside or inverted veer. You got one load option. You got 13 reads. This is pretty normal in a spread playbook, and I've been getting better at these. Hopefully I can make this look halfway decent. I'm going to go out. Let's go up against a nickel random, something right here. So what I've been doing is hopefully I can read that correctly, and I just botched that one. So what I've noticed, like I got a one high safety. I've noticed some trips at one time, and again, I just got destroyed on that one. I think I just read it wrong again. Forgive me. I'm not the best when it comes to these read options, and I read that one wrong again. Sometimes I just got to hand the ball to the halfback. Again, I'm so used to the other way of doing it, in terms of giving the ball to the halfback, holding the button to give it to him instead of the other way around. But anyway, you got 13 of these, if that's your thing. Again, it's just not my strongest suit when it comes to a concept that I'm just really good at. But you got 13 of them. You got one speed. You got a zone, which is technically speed. It's kind of the same thing. Then you get into your RPOs. This is the bulk of your option stuff. You got 12 reads. You got 5 peaks, and you got 15 alerts. Most of these are bubbles, but you got some other weird things as well. You got a little pre-snap motion. You got some of those hitches that kind of has like a bear and shoot feel to it. You know, so RPO, counter, alert, shock, all three of those. This is kind of the most popular one of the bunch in this playbook. I've just kind of noticed that. I'm not all that great at these either. I'm more of a bubble guy when it comes to some of these RPOs. But if you go back to your reads, you got more glance routes, if that is your thing. Think of the Wake Forest slow mesh, but without the slow mesh part. But you see, there's more glance routes, things of that nature. But you still got plenty of bubbles and whatnot. So you got 12, 5 by 17. That's over 30 RPO. So again, the bulk of your option stuff is going to be RPO based. You go to quick pass. There's not a whole lot here. You got 3 Ohios. You got 11 slants. You got 2 spacings, and you got 10 sticks. But you're going to notice these slants and sticks are all like the same plays. So you go to your slants, you go down, what's it say in the middle? Stick. You know, you go over here to stick, what's it say in the middle? Slant. So they kind of go together, just depending on the combo. It's usually like, for example, the one in the middle, you got slants on one side and stick on the other. That's why they threw it in here. Again, you're going to go back and forth between these plays here as your quick game. And that's pretty popular for most of these spread playbooks. You go over to medium pass. This is the most popular part of the playbook, and just in terms of how much it has. So keep that in mind. You got 10 mesh. Well, I love mesh. I'm a big fan of it. I like to just rep it every now and then. Let's see. He's wide open. Go over here. If I was starting a dynasty or an offense of some sort, I'd have to use a lot of mesh. I just feel really comfortable calling it for whatever reason, and I'm going to get picked off there, so what do I know? But either way, I really enjoy mesh. I've always been an air raid guy myself. He's wide open. Again, nice little pick on up the middle of the field. Good little play there to your tight end. Either way, I love mesh. It's pretty good stuff, and there's a lot of ways to go about calling mesh. You notice you got your mesh spot, then you got your halfback wheels on top of that. Then you got a little pre-snap motion built into it. Then you go 5 wide. You can go out of 13 personnel, but that's just 10 plays. You go to some other concepts. We got 10 choice concepts, just pretty much any play that's got a choice route, they're going to dump it here, and it's a little bit of everything as you would expect. You got 16 curls, so pretty much any type of play that's got a curl or a hitch, they kind of dump it here. I love curl flats. Let's go up against a dime. I think we're going with that of a 5 wide set, or maybe that's at 11 personnel look. See if I can hit this curl. Dropped it there. I may have thrown it just a tad bit late, but you kind of pick a side, like I think I may pick over here, hit this curl. Nice, get about 10 yards, but he drops it. Either way, still, you got plenty of curls to choose from if you're a curl/hitch guy. You go to double moves. You got 7 of these. Again, it's just a bit of a wide variety. Then you go over to 4 drives. We got 2 levels. You got a few pivots. You got 5 Salems. You got 1 shake. You got 5 shallow cross. And this goes with your mash that we looked at earlier. Slot cross, got a little bit of an air raid feel to it. Then you got 22 smash. As we've all seen, this is usually your most popular medium pass concept, and it's just a wide variety. It could be a wheel and a hitch. It could be a flag and a hitch. It could be a corner and a flat, like you see double corner there. And just a lot of different ways to do high-low. But this is where I would start if I was you. As you can tell, there's just a lot more of this than there's of anything else. So you go to deep pass, we got quite a bit of stuff here. We got 13 floods. We got 11 comebacks, just pretty much any play that's got a comeback route, they're going to throw it in here. You got 5 daggers. You got 1 divide. You got 1 double dig. You got 7 double posts. That's kind of a high number. I'm not the biggest fan of this concept. I'm just not really good at it. I normally like to have good route spacing, and double post usually doesn't do a good job at that, but some people out there may be really good at this stuff. You go to verticals. We got 10 of these. Then you got 1 Mills. Then you have 3 Portlands. You got 13 shot plays. Not all of it's play action. A lot of it's just going over the top of some sort. But you notice you're going to see some very similar plays and other concepts. Then you go over to switch. You got 6 of these. So you notice the most popular, I guess, is the shot, your verticals. You go over to your comebacks, and then you got your plenty of flood. Now let's talk about play action. As we all know, not all the play actions are dumped here. It says we got 5 boots and 4 slides, but we're going to see that a little bit differently here in a second. Screens, we got 15 bubbles, but we've already looked at a lot of these. These are just your RPO bubbles. Then you go to flanker screen. It says we got 5. But if you go over to play type, over to here, we look at it a little bit different. You go to pass. Quick pass, we got 4. You got a bunch of shotguns, but play action, there's 35 total. This is actually kind of a low number. This isn't a pro style offense. You're not going to be running and playing action off of that. Any type of play action you'll be doing more likely will be RPOs in this playbook, but you still got enough basic play action if that's what you like to do. Okay, there's more than enough. Then you got 15 screens. These are all your swings, your slips, and your mid screens, things of that nature. Not a big amount of number compared to some other ones I've seen, like Texas Tech and whatnot. That thing's got like 40 something. But either way, more than enough there. Let's go over to runs. We've already looked at most of these, but just in a different way. You got 43 insides. You got 5 outsides. You got 1 pitch. You got 8 counters, just a few draws, a couple fullback runs, and a QB run. So those inside handoffs, those are pretty much all of your powers and your inside zones, just kind of all put together. So that's where, again, your run game starts right here. And then you throw in those RPOs, which we will look at right here. We got 6, well, this is basic option. You got 16 options. These are all your reads, speeds, and leads. But you go back out of here. RPOs. You're going to spend a lot of time in here, I would think. You got 8 reads, you got 9 peaks, and you got 15 alerts, just ones we just saw from earlier. So just kind of to sum things up, it's just a basic spread playbook, nothing too fancy, but I like the personnel diversity. It's got plenty of inside zone, power counter. You do RPOs off of that. Then you get into your passing game when it comes to your quicks, that's slants and sticks. Your mediums, it's going to be a lot of mesh. It's going to be quite a bit of curl, and it's going to be a ton of smash. Then if you really want to go deep, you got plenty of verticals and shot plays to work off of, along with some comebacks and floods. So it's just a nice, good complement of concepts I think work pretty well together. So if you're a spread playbook guy, I think you should check this one out. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.